At that time, I think I just was I don't know what it was, I can't remember my position, but anyway, there was a bunch of distributors from Taiwan. They were all dressed up in this gorgeous garb, and one of them came over and he wanted a picture with us. So the guy was getting ready to take the picture, and then so I said, as he was getting ready to snap the picture, money, 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 money. You know, so everybody laughed and chick giggled and of course smiled. He took the picture. Well, an hour or two later, I'm watching the events going on, and all of a sudden I'm seeing all these guys from Taiwan getting their picture taken, going, money, 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 money. Anyway, that's Dave Rolf. Anyway, your next speaker is me. So, thank you very much. I was at an event in San Diego, and back in the day, and I gave this bang-up presentation on money. I like talking about money. It's kind of fun. It's a scorecard. And I came off the stage with a rounding applause, and I went to the guy that put on the event. His name was Al. And I said, Al, they love me. They love me. I need more stage time. And he said, well, that's simple. Go Royal Diamond. You get all the stage time you want. And I said, okay. So I buckled down. I was a diamond, went to Royal Diamond, and then they cut the time down to 10 minutes. Timing is everything, as they say. Oh, accountability. Oh, I got to talk to Ben about this. This is the toughest topic to talk about. And the reason why it's the toughest thing to talk about, because it's going to stimulate all of you on what you don't do.
Do it.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Do it.
To make a nice twist to this.
There you go.
Now, how does this work? Do you push the green button?
Yes.
And that goes to the next one?
Yeah.
It's not working. Oh, there you go. Push it hard. Okay. So you'll find all of this information on my website, daverolf.com, most specifically the 100K Club, which is an accountability and support group to help create a greater understanding of this business. So if you don't want to pay attention, then don't pay attention. I will put this PowerPoint up on my website and you can download it at home, no problem at all. Okay. By definition, accountability means an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility. That gives us another big word that we have to understand. Responsibility, by definition, responsibility means reliability, trustworthiness, and commitment. Okay, very important term. Now, when I started in 1990, I had one objective in mind, and that was to make $8,000 a month, because I had just lost my entire life savings in a franchise business where the manufacturer who was supplying us products went broke. And we couldn't get product anymore, so I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. And when Gary was up here talking about the fact that they were about to pull his farm, reminded me of the exact same position that he was in, I was in, which all of a sudden turned on some afterburners of some kind, and we went to work. So I needed to take responsibility for this, because I had a family of 5 that were depending on what I did. Okay? So the first thing I had to take a look at, and I put these up here, was, well, how does the business work? You know, I had to really get my wits around this. And what do I need to do? I had to get my wits around that. And then how do I make it work for me? I had to get my wits around that. Very important thing. So, if we look at knowledge, in order to be able to do any activity and expect positive results, one needs to understand how it works. Well, isn't that what Gary said? When he was looking at what to do and getting trained on the internet, he had to understand what it did and how it worked so he could put it to work. And I was talking to him before he got up there, and he's like this far away from going Royal Diamond. This far away from going Royal Diamond, because he, got the knowledge. And without the correct knowledge, you can't think about what to plan or do properly. Application. In order to apply what one has learned, one needs to learn how to apply. Wow. Now this is a very interesting statement, because you're taught, okay, go put a list of 100 names together and go talk to them. Okay. What do you say? Well, I mean, I've seen this happen for 29 years, and I've seen people blow all the people that they knew. They've gone through it. Nobody wanted to do anything because they didn't learn how to apply that. You see? They didn't learn how to apply what to say and practice it. I remember my upline, Jeff, and he's off doing something else right now. He'd go down the basement. He'd have a Chesterfield down there. You know Chesterfield? That's Canadian for couch. And he'd put his daughter's dolls on the couch. And he'd stand up there and give a wellness preview to the dolls. And he practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. So he learned how to apply what he learned. Rather than just going out there and, whatever. Success is determined by how well you apply what you learn, and in this business, it's all about activities. It's all about activities. I don't know any wellness consultant that sat at home and did nothing and got the job done. We talk to people. Okay, activity. Once one has learned how it works and how to apply, then one needs to get active and do the activities that are known to create the result. Now, I wasn't here for anybody in all the speeches that were done on, but from all the successful people, but I know one thing. Whether it's Mike DiNuccio or Herb Rapp or Ben Woodward or Ruth and Dennis, they learned how it works, they learned how to apply it, they went out and did the activities. You see, failure in this business only comes about by not doing the activities. That's the only reason to fail in this business, just not doing the activities. Why? Everybody sleeps, everybody needs water, and everybody needs to take nutrition. These are well-known facts. Do your research. See the statistics on it. It's mind-boggling. In 1990, when I first got involved, there was an article in Life magazine that said 50% of the population can't sleep. I said, I got a 1 out of 2 chance of being successful here. And then there was a positive outlook. Okay. Accountable. After taking a whole bunch of time off and getting active again, my research confirmed that this was one of the biggest problems we have is a lack of accountability. Now, the reason I did Nika was to build a residual income business so that I didn't have to work for the rest of my life. And that's what I built. So after I built it, I took 15 years off. And in that 15-year period of time, I made more money through Nika than I did when I was active. Now, I stayed in touch with key distributors and I communicated with them, but what I wanted to get across as a message to you was, when I came back, what I saw was missing was this. Well, what's this? It's responsibility. Okay, let's move on here. With little, if any, accountability, there is a tendency to drop taking responsibility. Results come about when you take responsibility to create them. And you do this by being accountable to someone besides yourself. See, here's what happens. You go out and you talk to somebody and they say no. But you don't tell anybody that they say no. You keep that to yourself. But you harbored this little, they didn't say yes, they said no. Let's go to the next one. That one said no. And you go to the next one, that one says no. Well, I guess this doesn't work very well. I think I'll go off and do something else. But if you were accountable to somebody and you talked to them and you said, the first person said no, well, what did you say? How did you say it? And then you tweak that, maybe the next person might have said yes instead of no because of confidence. Your confidence. If you listen to all the people that had great success in this business, what else did they have? Persistence and confidence to get the job done. And they kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's exactly what you need to do. Okay. According to Webster, work means to function or operate according to a plan or design. Responsibility as a wellness consultant, represent the company and provide the correct information on all aspects of what is being made available and do the necessary activities in order to get the correct results. So when it comes time to accountability, what we have to ask ourselves is, are we doing that? Or do we give up sometimes and not do that? Or do we sit there and complain and say, this isn't working, that's not working, and therefore don't go out? And how do we communicate when we do go out? What is the correct information that needs to be presented in order for this business to work? And how do you do the activities of this business? When an individual sees by being involved with the business and doing the activities, he or she could potentially get what they want. That's how it works, isn't it? I mean, let's take a look at each and every one of you. What made you decide to get into this business? What did you see? What did you come to understand? You saw something that you could then, wow, if I did this, I could get that, I could have this, I could feel this. Wasn't that the case? This could change my life, this could make things better, this could solve the problem, this could give me a different aspect of the way I did things. Isn't that how it worked?
Yes.
Wasn't it Gary? Didn't he just get up here and tell you that he was stuck between a rock and a hard place? He lost everything because of the meltdown in the banking industry. He's lost his job, is about to lose his farm, and then some gal comes along that's got these magnetic products, and then all of a sudden, bang, he's got a whole new career. What did he do? He looked at it after a period of time and said, oh my God, this could change everything. I know that's what Gary thought. I know that's what I thought. I remember going to Canada in 1993 when we opened up Canada, and Michael DiMuccio was up on the stage, and I watched him perform, which was great, and I was sitting in the back of the room at that time watching what was going on. I remember Susan Carter when she came to Woodland Hills and for her first meeting, and I'm sure she had that same thought. You know, this could change my life, this could do something. So what we have to take a look then is how do we present and what do we present? Okay. So what do they need to see, understand, and agree with in order to come to this conclusion? Results? What did Gary need to see? You need to see that the product worked. What's that? That's a result. Potential results. Well, back in my day, there were no results. Except there were a couple of guys making some really big money really fast. But that was a result. And then, of course, there was the potential. Systems, support, mentorship, friendship, track record, and what they understand. And what they understand. See, we're in the 21st century right now, and we're dealing with the majority of the group that's going to take over from us are the millennials, right? Millennials, Gen X, and maybe some baby boomers. So what do they understand? Computers, cell phones, tweaking, Facebook, Instagram, that's what they understand. Much more than I do. When the right information is presented so that the individual who receives the information sees, understands, and agrees with it, then he or she can make a decision to proceed because of what they now understand. So the key to it is what they understand. So when I was first contacted, I looked at results, potential results, I looked at my ability, I looked at my apprehension, support, my warm market list, what I understood, and track record. That's what was important. Because what I thought this guy was presenting to me was a company that was selling refrigerator magnets, and I had no understanding of what this is. If I had heard the messages that I've been hearing over the years, you know, of what it's done to people, how it's helped people, the social benefits, the heart benefits, all that good stuff. See, that didn't exist back in 1990. That's a transformation of what this group has created over time. So this is very important. So the first thing I had to do, and you have to understand that I'd been in networking for 15 years prior to Mika. And the last company that I was with was a company called Cleopatra's Secret. Now, Cleopatra's Secret was a cosmetic company And it had a celebrity that was endorsing it, and they were out of, I think, Kansas City. And we grew the ingredient in milk mold. And the deal was you had to buy these starter kits, and then you'd pour the starter kit in an 8-ounce tumbler of milk, and then you'd let it ferment and grow mold on it for a week. Well, I don't know if you guys have ever had milk sitting around in your back bedroom growing mold for a week, what that smells like. It's absolutely the grossest thing you could possibly. But here's the deal: you bought a kit of 100 of these kits, so you had 100 glasses of milk mold growing, and 100 glasses of milk mold creates an incredible odor that's probably worse than driving by a pig farm.
Oh, God.
Or a cow farm. So you're in the network marketing industry, and what do? You invite people to your home to watch the presentation, but they can't get 50 yards to your home because it smells so bad. So then we got the bright idea, well, we'll create milk mold warehouses and buy industrial dishwashers and industrial racks, and we were growing thousands and thousands of these glasses of milk mold. Well, unfortunately, the areas that we rented the facilities were complaining because it smelled so bad.
You did that for 15 years?
No, I did that for about 6 months. Anyway, they got us all pumped up. They brought us into one of these meetings, and they made it a religious event, and they said, God's behind us, we're doing so well, and we're going to create a contest, and we were going to send you to Hawaii on this contest. And we won the contest, and we went to Hawaii, and they rah-rahed us some more. We came back, did another $20 million worth of business, and then the government shut them down and said it was a Ponzi scheme. Because what we were growing and sending back to them, they were just repackaging and sending it out, because milk mold just keeps growing. See, it's one of these regenerating things. So at that point in time, I said, that's it! No more! But, when Nikan came along, and I was desperate, I knew one thing I had to do. And the first thing I had to do was become the professional. Right away, day one, put on a suit, had a briefcase, had brochures in there, had some product. And everybody that looked at me thought I was very successful. Because looks mean everything. I mean, really. So that was it. I needed to make a decision to become a professional network and a Nikan consultant, and this was based on information. The next thing I had to do was I had to learn about the business. And I mean, not just, okay, you got some products, you got to do this, and you breed your compensation plan. I bet you if I was to test half this room on the compensation plan, you wouldn't understand it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about here to that degree. So I had to learn what this was all about, how it worked, what were the activities, and how you did them. I participated in as many activities and things that I could, meetings, corporate visits, trainings, lots of communication with my upline. What did Gary say? Same thing, didn't he? Interesting, seems to be a pattern. I'm sure Michael said the same thing. I'm sure Herb said the same thing. It's the participation, because with that participation, you get the knowledge and the understanding. With that knowledge and understanding, you can think and plan and strategize and move forward. Okay. This is all accountability, guys. This is a very dry subject. Okay, then you do the activities. I went to work. Okay. I had to set a goal. I had to have a purpose and a plan. My goal was real simple, $8,000 a month, $120,000 for the year. I ended up making $119,000 my first year in Nikan. So that was a neat realization for me to move forward. My purpose was really simple. Provide for myself, my family, and pay my bills. It wasn't an altruistic idea of saving planet Earth and that comes later. But the plan was simple. So the purpose was simple. The plan was the Nikan compensation plan. That was the plan. If you look at it, it's you start at the bottom, you work your way up to the top. You do each step, step by step. Now, when I had to go silver, we had to do 40,000 points in 1 month. 40,000! Then I did that my second month. And I'm going to show you something to kind of tweak your perception of today versus yesterday, which I think is dramatic, and this came from the conversations I had with a few of you last night. I made myself accountable. This is the scary part. It's kind of like quit smoking. You know, what do they tell you if you're going to quit smoking? They tell you to get with somebody and tell them you're quitting smoking. But what do a lot of smokers do? They say, I want to quit smoking. Yeah, I'm going to quit smoking. See, I was one of those guys that smoked for 55 years. In my entire career, I'm going to confess to you, I smoked throughout the entire career. I'm a wellness consultant. Huh? Or was I being accountable? Okay, so at first, this was primarily with my family, and then with the company, and then with the organization in my group. So I'm now making up for being accountable by offering what you will see that I'm offering at the end of today. Okay, integrity. By definition, integrity means a firm adherence to a code of especially moral and ethical values. Well, as a wellness consultant, what does that mean? Well, that means if you're a wellness consultant representing this company, you better have the integrity to learn everything about this company, because you are the mouthpiece for the company, aren't you? It's your job to go out and talk to other people and give them the best of the best. Not some half-baked idea of what you think it might be, but the whole enchilada. Why? Because if you ran into a sophisticated buyer like Gary, or a guy that was down in his luck like Dave Rolf, or a physics or a nuclear physicist like Michael DiNuccio. You were a nuclear physicist, weren't you? No, something like that. An engineer. Michael's an engineer. Do you get the idea here? Okay. So when I started this back in 1990, there was no idea of what was going to happen. Our growth came about by individuals actually building from the ground up, creating results which in turn inspired others to do the same. See, just think about this for a minute. You're sitting here, you're wondering about your business. Where's it going to go into the future? How is it going to grow? Where's the next step? Well, we didn't have that either. We didn't have people in front of us saying this is where you go. We just took the idea, we presented it, we took what we were told to do, go roll backs, give the product, demonstrate the product, blah, 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 blah. But we sold a big picture, didn't we? We sold an incredibly big opportunity. And I think that's what's changed. We're not selling the biggest opportunity we could be selling. Perspective. When we created the right perspective for someone, we were presenting the opportunity to, and they saw what we saw and what we were doing, they joined us. How many have had that experience? You make the presentation, they really like it, they're in love with it, they see what you're doing, and they say, I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Going to use Gary because he was just before me. He goes over and sees this lady who got from his daughter, sits down with her, makes a presentation, he wants to sell their product, says, no, I want to be a distributor. So obviously he presented the right information for her to see something and saw that opportunity. The right perspective, okay. In my day, and this is, I really want you to pay attention to this because this was my realization this morning where we could be missing the boat. So in my day, roughly the majority of the time, silver was 20,000 points. A consultant made between $1,700 and $2,000. And any of you older timers that did this, if I'm wrong, correct me, make a point. I did this from a lot of memory this morning. The sponsor who sponsored the new silver made about the same, $1,700 to $2,000. And then the upline, who was getting a leadership bonus, made about $1,200. Is that right, Ruth? Is that correct? Is that pretty good, Dave? Does that correspond with what you're thinking? Okay. Now, here's the key. The number of people was about 20 to 30 for each silver on average. 20 to 30 people, okay? So if we look at this and put this in perspective of a larger number to make a lot of money, it makes sense. Well, yeah, 20 to 30 people, 20,000, okay, blah, 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 blah. This is what you make. But what's it today?
No,
Now, I'm using the same equivalent. I'm not using PV, I'm using CV, because in our day, PV was CV. So I'm using the same equivalent. So today, a silver, it takes 3,600 points. If you look at the CV-PV relationship, the consultant can make, if he does this in a day, in a month, $1,400. That's pretty close to what they used to be able to do. This is actually very interesting. The sponsor, however, only makes $300, and the upline leadership bonus is $216 approximately. My figures could be slightly off. But look at the number of people. 3 to 6. See, the perspective that needs to be played here is a bigger picture. If we create a bigger picture, we get more exciting announcements. So, today, using the same dollars as yesteryear, 20,000 points, the consultant would make $4,200. Not $1,400, not $1,700, twice as much as what we did. Does that create a different perspective on doing $20,000 worth of volume? See, everything is based on how we look at it and how we frame it. If we look at the sponsor would make $1,800 on helping somebody do $20,000 in an organization and creating 3 silver. Does that now seem a little bit more exciting? Does that sound like this is, okay, now we're getting back on track? Well, see, what we looked at, if you look and understand how the business works and grows, you sponsor 3 people, you teach them to sponsor 3, and you keep taking that down. By the time you get down to your 6th level, you have 729 people. Well, that's what we looked at when we started this business. That's how we built it. You build it in depth. You create enough width to keep going down. But just think of all that. Now, I wasn't the biggest person in this company. I didn't make the most money. I didn't have the most people. But in 1999, I had 70,000 distributors. I had over 3,000 silvers. I had 500, 600 golds. I can't tell you how many platinums, diamonds, and royal. But each one of them was making, do you see what I'm getting at here? If we look at the right perspective and paint the right picture and make this attractive for people to look at, then they can make a decision to move forward. If we don't paint the right picture, are they going to make a decision to move forward? See, the reality of it is, if you want to make this kind of money in today's market, you've got to do this kind of volume. Mm-hmm. But look at the number of people that's going to take. 20 to 30, the same number as what we did before. But if I go back one slide, we got 3 to 6 people making this, so there's not enough energy going on in your organization. So putting it in the right perspective is what we're talking about here. Accountability takes responsibility for you to learn everything that you can so that you mastermind and plan what to do and go out and do it. Okay. Agreement. When someone we are presenting to agreed with the potential of the opportunity like we do and sees that if they join, it could help them get what they want, they join us. we're all pretty much the same character in the sense of we're doing one thing on planet Earth and we're trying to survive and live our life and be happy and feel good about what we do. And when people look at what we're offering and when we make decisions about things, we're going to make decisions based on what it means for us, our family, our friends, the society, etc., etc. So we've got to get that agreement. You need to sell the big picture as this helps create the agreement on the right perspective and creates an understanding of what it takes to make this opportunity work. And what is the opportunity? It's residual income. It's ongoing involvement and participation. We all know it costs money to come to these events, but why do we come to these events? Because we love coming to these events because of the group. It's because of the group. When potential participants saw that we were not alone, or they were not alone, and there was a group and others were involved, that the benefits of the activities are achievable, they joined us. I mean, I can't tell you how many people went to big events and then changed their whole lives and built an army. I remember Canada sticks in my mind right now because of Michael, but I remember that event. There was a huge event, did unbelievable volume, unbelievable registration, right, Michael? Why? Because they went to that event and they got inspired because of the group dynamic. Not the individual, the group. This is critical to create the right future. Groups expand when they are on the same page and with the same purpose, telling the same message. Group participation, when we work together as a group and the members of the group participated, contributed, and helped, the group expanded and so did the individual. I remember one very powerful group. They were recognized today, Dennis and Ruth Williams. I mean, they were humongous group. They were a humongous group. And they grew and grew and grew, and the members of their group participated, and those individuals grew and grew and grew. But if they were by themselves and they didn't have a group, that wouldn't have occurred, right? Individuation. By definition, individuation means the process by which individuals in society become differentiated from one another. Two big words will define differentiated. By definition, differentiated means to become distinct or different in character, to give expression to a difference. Well, since about 2000, we individuated as an organization. We differentiated in our styles and approaches and where we worked. And we didn't stay together as a group, but we need to come back together as a group. One team, one dream, one group, one plan, one message is what we should look at. Activities. When we focused on doing the right activities that are known to create the results in a sufficient quantity for the situation or circumstance desired, we always got results. We always got results. 6 important points: knowledge, agreement, perspective, group, application, and activities. You can download this whole thing from the webpage, don't need to take pictures. Now, what I came to understand was the importance of accountability, responsibility, knowledge groups, application, and activity. I created the Smart Networker program, which provides exactly what I found was needed to help because those that are interested in really learning as much as they can about our business. And I created the 100K Club. This is free for anybody to join and operate. We have 5 calls a week, every day. You plug in, you listen. It's really an incredibly interactive accountability situation where you join to be accountable, you learn, you expand, and it's really working. So as you are your own boss, you're really only accountable to yourself, and this can lead to poor or no results. And I've watched this for 29 years, and that's a true statement. I mean, there are always exceptions to the rule. When you join, you're making an agreement to play and participate and take responsibility, and so all others that are on doing the same thing. You'll gain the right perspective based on years of experience and success with no fluff. And it's the group dynamic that makes this work the best. And it's a perfect platform to for people to learn, ask questions. It's not a system. We're not talking about systems, we're talking about knowledge. And you take the knowledge, then you apply it, and then you can learn how to monitor that. It's really a lot of fun. So my webpage is daverolf.com, www.daverolf.com. I wrote this book called Vested Interest, Smart Networker, 100K Club, New Business Evaluation. So, what's accountability? Accountability is taking responsibility. What is taking responsibility? You're walking down the street and you see a piece of trash on the street. Ultimate responsibility, you pick up that trash. You're walking down the street, you see an elderly person crossing the road and they're all by themselves, the traffic's bad, and responsibility would be helping that person go across the street. That'd be ultimate responsibility. You join this organization as a NECA consultant to represent what NECA has, and NECA trusts you to represent what they're offering you. So what's the ultimate responsibility of joining and becoming a NECA Waltons consultant? Is to do the best possible job you can and represent this company and take it from where you are to the moon, and everybody here goes Royal Diamond. Thank you very much.